I knew he was in the room before I saw him, the way you know a storm is coming even when the sky hasn't changed yet. The gallery went quiet in patches, conversations stuttering, glasses pausing mid-sip, eyes cutting toward the entrance. I didn't need to turn around. My body already knew. Heart kicking against my ribs, throat tightening, heat crawling up my spine despite the air conditioning working overtime. 5 years. 5 years of building a life where Tiberio Russo didn't exist. I kept my eyes on the German collectors in front of me and willed my voice to stay steady as I explained the layering technique in my triptych. But my skin prickled with awareness, every nerve ending suddenly awake. He was moving closer. I could feel it. Signora Vitale, the gallery director, Anton, materialized at my elbow. A moment, I excused myself and followed him 3 steps away, keeping my back to the room. Last-minute addition to the guest list, Anton said quietly. His office called with a substantial acquisition offer. I couldn't refuse. Let me guess. I finally turned. Tiberio stood 15 feet away, flanked by 2 men in dark suits. He looked like he'd aged backward, sharper jaw, broader shoulders, the kind of cold polish that came with real power. The boy who'd kissed me in his father's garden was gone. This man looked like he could raise empires. His eyes found mine across the crowd. My stomach dropped, flipped. Heat flooded low in my belly, immediate, unwanted, infuriating. I hated that my body still recognized him, still responded like he had any right to make my pulse stutter. It's fine, I said to Anton. The lie tasted like copper. I'm here to work, not litigate ancient history. This exhibition was my entire year's survival. 3 major commissions and a Berlin gallery contract all hinged on tonight. I'd spent the last of my savings getting here. Plane tickets, the hotel where Lumi was sleeping under my assistant's watch, the borrowed dress that made me look like I belonged. I couldn't afford ghosts. Tiberio moved through the crowd like water finding cracks. People shifted without thinking, conversations bending around him. He stopped in front of my largest piece, displacement, dark oils, fractured architecture, the kind of raw grief I'd only been able to paint after Lumi was born. Signora Vitale, his voice slid under my skin. Your work has matured considerably. I turned slowly, keeping distance between us. Signor Russo, I didn't realize contemporary art was among your new interests. I have many new interests. We should speak privately. We shouldn't speak at all. 5 paintings sold already, I continued, voice bright and cold. So unless you're making an offer, I have collectors waiting. I moved a step past him. His hand caught my wrist, gentle but deliberate, thumb pressing against my pulse point. The contact shot through me like voltage. My breath stuttered. I felt my heartbeat hammer against his thumb, betraying me. Let go. There's a man by the east entrance. Tiberio's voice dropped lower. Gray suit, red pocket square. He's been watching you for 20 minutes. Half the room is watching me. He's not looking at your paintings. His thumb moved slightly, a barely there stroke that made my skin burn. And the woman near the catering table arrived with press credentials from Arte Moderna. Something in his tone made me look up. So? Arte Moderna folded 6 months ago. His eyes locked on mine. I checked. My stomach went cold. You're paranoid. I'm thorough. He released my wrist and showed me his phone. Security footage, time-stamped 2 days ago. A man in a gray suit entering a warehouse. Antonio Greco. He works for the Montecalvo family. The name hit like a fist to the chest. That's impossible. The Montecalvos have nothing to do with me. They have everything to do with you. His voice went flat. 5 years ago, I was engaged to Senator Montecalvo's daughter. The engagement was political, arranged, announced at a state dinner. He paused. And then I ended it. Publicly. The floor shifted beneath me. You, what? I never married Valentina. The engagement lasted less than a year. The wedding never happened. That's not, I saw the photos, the cathedral. Engagement announcement, not a wedding. His jaw tightened. I thought you knew. How would I know? The words came out sharp. I left the country. I rebuilt somewhere you'd never look. He studied my face. You thought I married her. I said nothing. Damn, he breathed it like a curse. Leora, the Montecalvos are consolidating power. Valentina's running for deputy minister. She's settling old scores, reminding people what happens when someone humiliates her family. I'm nobody. I paint pictures and teach undergraduates. I'm not a threat. You were seen with me, photographed at family events for 6 months. His eyes darkened. Then you disappeared the same week the engagement was announced. People noticed. Let them wonder, I have a good life now. Whatever theater you're involved in has nothing to do with me. Look at him again. The gray suit. Watch his hands. I didn't want to. But something in Tiberio's tone made me glance at the mirrored column, checking the reflection. The man's fingers were moving against his thigh, not fidgeting. A signal. I'd seen that exact gesture before, 5 years ago, at a dinner where Tiberio's father had negotiated with men whose smiles never reached their eyes. One of his guards had explained it later, the finger code the old families used when they couldn't speak freely. Target confirmed. Proceed. My blood went cold. You see it, Tiberio said quietly. That doesn't mean a woman screamed. Then glass shattered, then gunfire. Everything happened too fast. Bodies scattering, someone shouting, people running. My brain processed it in fragments. The gray-suited man pulling something from his jacket. The crowd surging toward exits. Tiberio moved before I could think. His arm locked around my waist and yanked me down behind a marble column as another shot cracked through the air. The floor was cold against my knees. My dress tore. Someone was screaming. Tiberio's weight pressed against my back. One hand splayed across my ribs, shielding me. Stay down. My lungs couldn't find air. The world had narrowed to my heartbeat and the heat of his body. Lumi, panic hit me like a physical blow. My daughter, she's at the hotel. If they know about me? Tiberio went absolutely still. What? My daughter. I tried to push against his hold. She's 4. She's at the Hotel Amadeus with my assistant. If they know where I am. His hand moved from my ribs to my shoulder, gripping hard. You have a daughter. His voice had changed, gone colder. Yes, and she's how old? I just told you she's 4 years old. He was doing math in his head. I could hear it in the pause, feel it in the way his fingers tightened. 4. Another shot rang out, farther away, shouting, boots on marble, his men moving fast. But Tiberio didn't move. He stayed frozen against me, his breath harsh at my ear. Tiberio. Where? Hotel Amadeus, room 504. He released me and pulled out his phone. Dante, Hotel Amadeus, room 504. There's a child, 4 years old. Get her out now. Bring her to the Palazzo suite. A pause. I don't care if the woman objects. The child comes with you. He ended the call and looked at me, and the expression in his eyes made my stomach drop. When were you going to tell me? Tell you what? Don't. The word cracked like a whip. 4 years old. You disappeared 5 years ago. The timing means nothing. Another shot. Tiberio swore and hauled me to my feet, keeping his body between me and the room. The gray-suited man was on the floor, blood spreading beneath his shoulder, not dead, but not getting up. She's leaving, Tiberio said to Anton, who'd appeared looking ashen. He pulled me toward a service exit, his men forming a wall around us. Cold night air hit my face. A black Mercedes idled at the curb. Tiberio pushed me inside and slid in beside me as the car lurched forward. I pressed against the window, heart hammering, mind spinning. Where are we going? The Palazzo Montefiore? Your daughter's being moved there now. Without my permission? I don't need permission to keep a child safe. He looked up from his phone. What's her name? I hesitated. What is her name? Lumi? His jaw clenched. And her father? Is none of your business. Leora. No, you don't get to interrogate me. You don't get to decide anything about my life. Someone just tried to kill you in front of 200 witnesses, Tiberio said, deadly calm. Which means they don't care about exposure. They care about sending a message. He stopped himself. I don't get to decide your life. But I do get to keep you alive long enough to make your own decisions. The car turned sharply. Through the windows, I caught flashes of Rome at night. the city I'd once loved and then fled. Tiberio's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and something shifted in his expression. What? He turned the phone toward me. A photograph. Lumi on the hotel balcony this afternoon, her dark curls catching sunlight, the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was 6 months old clutched in her arms. Below it, one line in neat script. We know what you're hiding. My hands started shaking. When did you get this? Slipped under your hotel door 20 minutes ago. His voice gentled slightly. My man found it when he went to secure the room. Your man? How long have you had people watching me? Since your flight landed. The admission should have made me furious. Instead, I just felt cold. They know about Lumi. Yes. The car slowed, pulling into an underground garage beneath one of Rome's most expensive hotels. Marble floors, hidden cameras, guaranteed discretion. Tiberio's phone buzzed. Talk to me. A pause. Good. Suite 7. Stay with her. He looked at me. Your daughter is safe. She's in my suite with Dante and your assistant. I want to see her. You will. He opened his door. But first, we establish ground rules. I don't take orders from you. No, but you're going to listen. He started toward a private elevator. Because everything you've built is about to collapse unless you let me help you. The Montecalvos don't make empty threats. They sent 3 people to your exhibition. They photographed your daughter. They know where you've been. He stopped at the elevator. So yes, Leora, I'm going to help you, whether you want me to or not. The doors opened. I didn't move. And what do you want in return? The truth. His voice dropped. Starting with why you ran, and ending with whether the daughter you've been hiding is mine. The elevator was pure glass and steel, rising through the Palazzo Montefiore like a bullet through clean water. I watched Rome drop away beneath us, the Tiber winding black through ancient stone, the distant glow of the Vatican. Tiberio stood too close, close enough that I could feel the heat coming off him, smell gunpowder residue on his jacket. She's not yours, I said to the glass. You're lying. You don't know that. 4 years old. You left 5 years ago. The math is simple, Leora. I turned to face him. I was with someone else. In Berlin. It didn't work out. His eyes were flat, unreadable. What's his name? Thomas. The lie came easily. I'd practiced it 100 times in mirrors in case anyone ever asked. Thomas Klein, architect. We met at a gallery opening 3 months after I left Rome. 3 months. Tiberio stepped closer. The elevator suddenly felt smaller. You moved fast. You were engaged. I was free. The math is simple. I crossed my arms. Not that it's any of your business who I sleep with. It is if my enemies are using her as leverage. They're using her because I'm visible, because I was stupid enough to come back here for one night. My voice cracked. This exhibition was supposed to be my breakthrough. 3 commissions, a Berlin contract, financial security, and now you're alive. Your daughter is alive. Everything else can be rebuilt. Easy for you to say. You didn't spend 5 years clawing your way back from nothing. The elevator slowed. 7th floor. Private suites. You think I don't know what it costs to rebuild? Tiberio's voice went quiet. Dangerous. I spent a year engaged to a woman I couldn't stand, playing politics with men who would have sold me for parts if I showed weakness. I did that to end my father's wars, to take control, to make sure no one could ever force my hand again. And yet here we are, your past dragging me back in. No. He caught my wrist as the doors opened. They're past. The Montecalvos made a move. I'm responding. I yanked free. By kidnapping my daughter. By keeping her out of a hotel room that was already compromised. My stomach went cold. What do you mean, already compromised? The photo of your daughter. It was slipped under your door 4 hours ago, before the exhibition even started. Before the shooting, his jaw tightened. They were setting the trap before you ever walked into that gallery. The hallway ended at double doors. Tiberio pressed his palm to a biometric lock, and the doors swung open. The suite was obscene. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Artwork that probably cost more than my yearly income. Furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum. And Lumi. She sat on a cream sofa, her rabbit clutched tight. My assistant Sophia next to her. A man in a dark suit, Dante, I assumed, stood by the window, speaking quietly into a phone. Mama, Lumi scrambled down and ran to me. I caught her, lifting her up, burying my face in her curls. She smelled like the hotel shampoo and the strawberry juice she'd had at dinner. Alive, safe, mine. Are you okay, baby? We had an adventure, her eyes were bright. The nice man said we were going to a castle. I looked over her head at Dante. He had the grace to look slightly uncomfortable. A castle, I repeated. It has a better view than the hotel, Dante said mildly, and significantly better security. Sophia stood, wringing her hands. Signora Vitale, I'm so sorry. They said there was a security threat, that we needed to move immediately. I didn't know what to do. You did the right thing. I set Lumi down, but kept her close. Thank you for keeping her safe. Tiberio moved past us toward Dante. Perimeter? Secure. Nico's team has the garage and lobby. Matteo's watching the exterior approaches. Dante glanced at Lumi, then back at Tiberio. The hotel sent 2 bottles to the room as requested. Surveillance didn't flag anyone unusual in the lobby after the package delivery. Which means they used a courier. Untraceable. Tiberio pulled out his phone. Pull footage from the street cameras. I want to know who hired them. Lumi tugged my dress. Mama, why did we have to leave? I was watching my show. There was a problem at Mama's event, sweetheart. We're just being extra careful. Is it because of the bad men? My blood froze. What bad men? The ones Sophia told me about when we got here. She said we needed to be very quiet because… Lumi. Sophia's face had gone white. That was supposed to be our secret, remember? Oh. Lumi looked between us, confused. I kept my voice steady. Sophia, can you take Lumi to explore the bedroom? I need to speak with these gentlemen. Sophia practically fled, Lumi chattering about whether castles had secret passages. The moment the bedroom door closed, I turned on Tiberio. You terrified a 4-year-old. I extracted her from a compromised location. He didn't look up from his phone. There's a difference. She's a child. You don't tell children about bad men and expect them to sleep tonight. Your assistant told her that. My people kept her distracted with talk of castles and hot chocolate. Now he looked up. And she'll sleep fine because this suite has a panic room, armed security, and bulletproof glass. Better than the Hotel Amadeus. I wanted to hit him. I didn't ask for this. You announced an exhibition in Rome. You made yourself visible. What did you think would happen? I thought I'd sell some paintings and leave. My voice rose. I thought 5 years was long enough that your world would forget I existed. They never forget. Tiberio crossed the room in 3 strides. You were photographed with me. You attended family events. You sat at tables where alliances were made and broken. He stopped inches away. The only reason they left you alone was because you disappeared completely. No social media, no public gallery shows, nothing that could be tracked. I had a quiet career. I taught. I painted. In Berlin, under a slightly different name, with a daughter you never mentioned in any interview or profile. His eyes searched mine. You didn't just run, Leora. You erased yourself. That takes planning. That takes fear. I held his gaze. You want to know why I ran? Fine. I ran because the night you announced your engagement, 2 men came to my apartment. They said if I caused problems, if I went to the press, if I made a scene, they'd make sure I disappeared permanently. My voice shook. They knew where I worked, where my mother lived. They gave me 72 hours to leave the country and never come back. Tiberio went absolutely still. Who? I don't know their names. They worked for your father. My father's dead. He wasn't then. I wrapped my arms around myself. So I left. I took what I could carry and I ran. And then 3 months later, I found out I was pregnant. The silence stretched like wire. You should have told me, Tiberio said finally. How? You were engaged. I was gone. And according to your world, I was irrelevant. I laughed, hollow. Besides, what would you have done? Broken off a political engagement to chase down your ex-girlfriend? Risked your family's alliances for a baby that might not even be yours? She is mine. You don't know that. Look at her. His voice dropped. Dark curls. That stubborn chin. She has my grandmother's eyes, Leora. Lots of children have dark curls. Does she sleep on her left side? Hate loud noises? Get obsessive about organizing things in patterns? I said nothing. That's what I thought. He turned away, running a hand through his hair. Damn, 4 years. You kept her from me for 4 years. I kept her safe. From me? From your world, the words burst out. From arranged marriages and political threats, and men who solve problems with bullets. I gestured at the windows. This isn't safety, Tiberio. This is a gilded cage. And the moment Lumi gets old enough to understand what you are, what you do, what I am, he interrupted quietly, is her father. Biology doesn't make you a father. No. But it gives me the right to protect her, to make sure she doesn't end up as leverage in someone else's game. He pulled out his phone. I'm having Thomas Klein verified. Architect in Berlin, you said? My heart stopped. That's not. If he exists, you have nothing to worry about. His eyes locked on mine. If he doesn't, we're having a very different conversation tomorrow. He would find nothing. No Thomas Klein, architect, Berlin. No record of any relationship, any connection, any father. And then he would know for sure. Dante's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression shifted. Tiberio, we have the footage. Tiberio moved to look over Dante's shoulder. I followed, still shaking from the Thomas Klein threat. The phone screen showed security footage from outside the Hotel Amadeus. A courier on a motorcycle, pulling up to the service entrance. Timestamp, 6:47 p.m., 2 hours before the exhibition started. Freeze it there, Tiberio said. Dante zoomed in on the courier's jacket. A logo I didn't recognize. Quick run deliveries, Dante said. They shut down 8 months ago. Bankruptcy. So someone's using a dead company's credentials. Tiberio straightened. Pull the plate number. Track where the bike went after the drop. I stared at the frozen image. Something about it nagged at me. Wait, I said. Go back 15 seconds. Dante rewound. The courier pulled up, dismounted, reached into the delivery bag. There, I pointed. His left hand. The way he holds the envelope. They both looked at me. What about it? Tiberio asked. He's not treating it like a delivery. Look at his grip, palm flat, fingers spread. That's how you hold artwork, or documents you don't want to bend. I'd spent years teaching students proper handling techniques. A courier service wouldn't train for that. They'd just grab and go. Dante zoomed in further. I was right. The man's hand position was deliberate, careful. He's not a real courier, I said. He's someone pretending to be one. Someone who has experience handling delicate materials. Tiberio and Dante exchanged a look. Gallery staff, Tiberio said quietly. Or someone from the art world. Someone who had access to the guest list, I added. Who knew exactly when I'd be at the exhibition? Who could time the photo delivery to maximize panic? My mind was racing now, connecting pieces. Anton said he couldn't refuse your acquisition offer, but you called what? An hour before the event? 45 minutes. Which means someone told you I'd be there. Someone who knew the schedule, knew the layout, knew exactly when to move. I turned to face him fully. Who told you about the exhibition? Tiberio's expression went cold. An anonymous tip, sent to one of my business accounts 3 days ago. Details about your show, the guest list. A warning that Monte Calvo associates would be attending. They wanted you there, I said slowly. They wanted me there, you there, chaos erupting with witnesses. This was never about killing me quietly. This was about creating a public spectacle, linking us together. Dante swore softly. She's right. If Leora dies in a random shooting, it's tragic but forgettable. If she dies at an event where Tiberio Russo just happened to show up, it's a scandal, Tiberio finished. It raises questions, makes connections, ruins Valentina's political campaign before it starts. He looked at me with something close to respect. You saw that faster than I did. I've spent 5 years studying how power works in the art world. Provenance, authenticity, perception management. I crossed my arms. It's not that different from your world. Just better lighting and worse wine. Tiberio's mouth curved slightly. Show me the guest list, the full one, from Anton. I pulled it up on my phone and handed it to him. He scrolled through, jaw tightening. Here. He turned the screen toward Dante. Marco Tesoro, listed as representing the Galleria Corsini. I know that name, I said. He was supposed to review my work for Arte Internazionale. He never showed. Because he was busy coordinating a hit, Tiberio's voice went flat. Tesoro worked for my father, low-level logistics. I fired him when I took over. He looked at me. He's Montecalvo's man now. So he gets himself on the guest list, feeds you the anonymous tip, coordinates the courier, plants the shooters. I stopped. Wait. If he's inside the gallery, he can control more than just timing. Like what? Like which exits get locked, which security guards get reassigned, which cameras catch the best angles. I thought back to the shooting. The gray-suited man. He was standing near the east exit when the first shot went off. That exit locks from the inside. Fire code requires it to stay accessible. But when people ran toward it, it was locked, Tiberio said quietly, forcing everyone toward the main entrance, where my men were positioned, where you'd be most visible protecting me. The full picture snapped into focus. They orchestrated the whole thing, not to kill me, to make sure we were photographed together during a crisis, to create the exact scandal Valentina needs to destroy. Dante was already typing. I'll have Tesoro picked up. No, I said. They both looked at me. If you grab him now, the Montecalvos know we're onto them. They'll adjust, move up their timeline, hit us when we're less prepared. I held Tiberio's gaze. But if we let him think he's still hidden, we control the next move. What are you suggesting? I finish the exhibition tomorrow, exactly as planned. Tesoro thinks I'm rattled, running scared, dependent on your protection. I straightened. But I'll be watching him, and when he makes contact with whoever's running this operation, we'll have proof. Names, evidence, everything we need to dismantle their entire play. Tiberio studied me for a long moment. You want to use yourself as bait. I want to use myself as an artist who's smart enough not to run. I met his eyes. They think I'm a weakness, a vulnerability, something they can exploit. Let's show them exactly how wrong they are. Dante glanced between us. It could work, but it means Leora stays exposed, visible. The risk is worth it if it ends this permanently instead of just delaying it. I looked at Tiberio. I'm tired of running. I did that for 5 years. It didn't make me safer. It just made me alone. Something shifted in Tiberio's expression. This changes the approach. We don't just protect you. We use the exhibition as a trap. Exactly. And when Tesoro moves, then we move faster. I pulled out my phone. But first, I need to call Anton. If we're doing this, I need control over every detail of tomorrow's event. My phone buzzed before I could dial. Anton's name lit up the screen. I answered. Anton. Signora Vitale, thank goodness. Are you hurt? I'm fine. What's the situation? The gallery is secure. Police have cleared the building. 3 casualties, all non-fatal, thank goodness. 2 security guards, 1 guest. He sounded shaken. But we have a problem. The press is everywhere. They're asking questions. About the shooting. About you. About... He paused. About Signor Russo. My stomach dropped. What kind of questions? Whether you were the target. Whether this was connected to his business. One reporter asked if you were under his protection. Another asked if you were... He stopped. If I was what? If you were his mistress. If tonight was a lover's quarrel turned violent. Anton's voice was miserable. I've declined all comment. But they're not leaving. And the exhibition is scheduled to continue tomorrow afternoon. If we cancel, it looks like we're hiding something. If we proceed... We proceed. I looked at Tiberio. 2 o'clock, as planned. But I need guarantees, Anton. I need to approve every reporter who gets access. Every photographer. Every credential. Of course, but... And I need Marco Tesoro at the event. Make sure he's there. Tell him I specifically want Arte Internazionale represented. Silence on the other end. Signora, after what happened tonight, are you certain having Tesoro? I'm certain. This is my work, Anton, my career, and I'm not letting anyone destroy it because they think I'm too afraid to fight back. I paused. Send me the final press list. I'll have my security team review every name. Your security team, he said it carefully. Signor Russo's people. Yes, I see. Another pause. The narrative tomorrow will be difficult to control. If you and Signor Russo are both present, then let them talk. I'm an artist returning to Rome for one night. He's a collector with security concerns. Everything else is speculation. I kept my voice steady. I'll handle the press. You handle the gallery. As you wish. He didn't sound convinced. I'll send the list within the hour. I ended the call. Tiberio was watching me with something close to approval. You're taking control of the narrative. I'm taking control of my career. There's a difference. I straightened. Tomorrow, I'm not your ex-girlfriend hiding behind your protection. I'm Leora Vitale, artist, who happens to have hired exceptional security after a violent incident. The story is about my work, not your world. And if the press pushes, then I'll redirect. I've spent 5 years managing perception in gallery spaces. This isn't different. I looked at him. But it only works if you stay in the background. No dramatic entrances, no public confrontations. Your security, professional, detached. His jaw tightened. You want me invisible. I want you smart. I stepped closer. They're expecting you to act like you own me, to make territorial displays, to confirm every rumor. I held his gaze. Disappoint them. And if staying detached puts you at risk, then you move, but not before. I pulled my torn dress straight, suddenly aware I was still wearing it. I need to change, and I need to put Lumi to bed. We can strategize details in the morning. Tiberio looked like he wanted to argue, then he nodded once. Dante stays outside your room. 2 men in the hallway, 4 more in the building. He moved toward the door. If anything feels wrong, I'll call. I paused. And Tiberio, about Lumi. He stopped, back still turned. You stay away from her, for now. My voice softened slightly. She doesn't need confusion. She doesn't need a stranger claiming to be her father when her world just got dangerous. Let me handle this my way. He turned, and the look in his eyes nearly broke me. For now, he agreed quietly. But after tomorrow, Leora, we're having a real conversation. About her. About what happens next. About whether you're still lying to me about Thomas Klein. He knew, maybe not with proof, but with certainty. Tomorrow, I agreed. The door closed behind him. I stood in the middle of that ridiculous suite, surrounded by wealth I'd never wanted and protection I desperately needed, and tried to remember why I'd thought coming back to Rome was a good idea. Through the bedroom door, I could hear Lumi laughing at something Sophia said. Right. Her. My brilliant, stubborn, beautiful daughter who deserved a future that didn't involve running. I pulled out my phone and opened my photos. Scrolled back to the first picture I'd taken of Lumi, hours after she was born. Tiny fists, dark curls, eyes that would later turn the exact shade of Tiberio's. I'd known from the first moment, known and hidden it and built a life around that lie. And now the truth was coming for both of us. But first, I had an exhibition to finish, and a trap to set. I just hoped I was smart enough to avoid getting caught in it myself. I woke to pale Roman light slicing through the curtains, and Lumi's cold feet pressed against my shins. She'd climbed into bed with me sometime around 3, whispering about bad dreams. I'd held her until her breathing evened out, then stayed awake watching the shadows shift across unfamiliar walls, my mind cycling through every possible disaster tomorrow could bring. The exhibition, Tesoro, the press, Tiberio circling closer to the truth about Lumi with every hour that passed. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. Anton's name appeared. I extracted myself carefully from Lumi's grip and padded to the bathroom before answering. Tell me something good, I said quietly. The insurance company approved continuation. The gallery's structural integrity is sound. And I have your press list. Anton sounded like he hadn't slept either. 12 outlets confirmed. All credentials verified through my personal contacts. Send it to me. Already done. But Signora? He hesitated. Marco Tesoro confirmed his attendance. He seemed eager. Asked specifically about your availability for a private conversation. My stomach tightened. What did you tell him? That you'd be managing a tight schedule, but would make time for Arte Internazionale, given their prominence. A pause. He said he's been following your work for years, that he has questions about your time in Berlin. The threat was barely veiled. Tesaro knew I'd disappeared, knew I'd built a life under a different professional name. He was letting me know he could expose that, destroy the careful anonymity I'd constructed. Perfect, I said. Schedule him for 3:30, after the main press but before the collector's reception. You're certain? Very. I checked the time. 8:15. I'll be there by 1 to review security placements. Signor Russo's team has already been here since 6. They're quite thorough. I could hear the diplomatic understatement. Tiberio's men had probably turned the gallery into a fortress. Let them work. I'll coordinate when I arrive. I ended the call and opened the press list. 12 names. I recognized 8 legitimate critics, arts journalists, the cultural correspondent from Il Messaggero. The other 4, I'd need to verify. A knock at the suite's main door. I checked the time again. Too early for Anton. Too controlled for trouble. I pulled on the hotel robe and opened the door. Tiberio stood in the hallway, looking like he'd already put in a full day's work. Suit perfectly pressed, hair still damp from a shower, eyes sharp despite the early hour. We need to talk, he said. It's 8:15 in the morning. Thomas Klein doesn't exist. My heart stopped. What? No architect by that name in Berlin. No gallery openings matching your timeline. No property records. No business registrations. No digital footprint. He stepped closer. You want to revise your story, or should I? I held his gaze. Come in, but quietly. Lumi's sleeping. He followed me into the suite's sitting area. Through the bedroom door, I could see my daughter's dark curls splayed across the pillow, one arm wrapped around her rabbit. Tiberio looked at her for a long moment. His expression did something complicated. She looks like my grandmother, he said quietly. Katerina, same bone structure, same way of holding her mouth when she sleeps. Lots of children. Don't. The word was soft but absolute. I had my people pull hospital records from Berlin, cross-referenced birth dates with your entry stamps, visa applications, medical insurance claims. He turned to face me. Lumi Vitali, born April 7th, 4 years ago. Mother listed, Leora Vitali. Father listed, unknown. The documentation I'd paid a lawyer too much money to make airtight. The carefully constructed paper trail that was supposed to protect us both. You hacked medical records, I said. I verified paternity. He moved closer. April 7th. That's 40 weeks after the last time He stopped. After the week before I announced the engagement. I said nothing. Say it, Tiberio demanded. Stop lying and say it. What do you want me to say? That you're her biological father? I crossed my arms. Fine. Genetically, yes. But that doesn't make you her parent, Tiberio. I've raised her alone for 4 years. I've been the one who stayed up all night when she had fever dreams, who taught her to read, who held her when she asked why she didn't have a daddy like the other kids. My voice cracked. You don't get to show up now and claim her just because you did the math. I would have been there. His voice was raw. If you'd told me you were engaged to a senator's daughter, playing politics with people who threatened to disappear me. I stepped toward him, angry now. What was I supposed to do? Call you up and say, hey, I know you're building alliances and consolidating power, but surprise, you're going to be a father. You would have had to choose between her and your father's empire, between protecting us and protecting your position. I would have chosen you. You don't know that. Yes, I do. He closed the distance between us. I ended the engagement for you. I went to war with the Montecalvos. For you. Everything I've built, every move I've made for 4 years has been about becoming powerful enough that no one could ever force my hand again. His eyes burned into mine. So don't tell me I wouldn't have chosen you. Don't tell me I wouldn't have chosen her. Then why didn't you come looking? The question burst out before I could stop it. You ended the engagement. You had resources, connections, people who could find anyone. Why didn't you try to find me? Because I thought you wanted to stay gone. His jaw tightened. The men my father sent. They told me you'd left willingly, that you'd taken a payout and signed an NDA, that you wanted nothing to do with me or my world. He looked away. I thought you'd made your choice. I never took money from your family. I know that now. I pulled the financial records. There was no payout, no NDA. His voice went quiet. They lied to me, just like I'm sure they lied to you. The pieces were clicking into place. His father's men, playing both sides, telling me Tiberio chose Valentina willingly, telling him I chose to leave. They wanted us separated, I said slowly. Yes, because together we were dangerous. Tiberio's mouth curved bitterly. My father knew I'd walk away from the family business for you. Knew I'd refuse the political marriages, the alliances, the entire infrastructure he'd built. So he made sure I believed you wanted out, made sure you believed I'd betrayed you. He paused. And it worked. For 5 years, I sank onto the sofa. This is too much. I know. I have an exhibition in 6 hours, a trap to set, a career to salvage. I know that too. And now you're telling me everything I believed about why we ended was a lie. Yes. He sat beside me, not too close, but close enough. I'm also telling you that Lumi is my daughter, that I want to be her father, not just her biological parent, and that after we finish dealing with the Monte Calvos, you and I are going to have a very long conversation about what happens next. I looked at him, really looked, at the exhaustion around his eyes, the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands were clenched like he was physically restraining himself from reaching for me. I can't think about next right now, I said. I can barely handle now. Then handle now. Let me help with that. He pulled out his phone. The 4 names you didn't recognize on the press list. I had them checked. 2 are legitimate freelancers. 1 is a stringer for Reuters. The 4th is a problem. He showed me the screen. A photo of a woman, late 30s, professional smile. Julia Sarto, listed as representing Artifocus International. What's the problem? Artifocus International is a real publication, small but legitimate. Julia Sarto is real too. Arts blogger, occasional contributor. He swiped to another image. But 3 months ago, she accepted a consulting fee from a PR firm that works exclusively for political clients, including Valentina. Monte Calvo, my blood went cold. She's a plant, most likely. She'll be there to ask the questions Valentina wants asked, about my presence at the gallery, about our relationship, about why I'm providing your security. He put his phone away. She'll make it personal. So I don't give her access. No, you let her in. Tiberio's eyes met mine. You control the narrative by controlling your answers. Stay professional. Redirect to your work. If she pushes about us, you have a prepared response. Which is? That Signor Russo is a collector who attended my exhibition. That the violence was unrelated to either of us personally. That I've hired professional security as a precaution, which any artist would do after such an incident. I straightened. I thanked the authorities for their swift response and emphasized that I'm focused on my work and my collectors. Good, he stood. But be prepared for her to go off script, to ask about Berlin, about why you left, about whether you knew me before the engagement. Did we ever appear in photos together before? A few, family events. Nothing romantic, we kept it private, but anyone looking closely could find them. Then I'll say we were acquaintances, that I left Rome for professional reasons. I looked up at him. Is that close enough to the truth? It's as close as we can afford. He moved toward the door. I'll have Dante as your primary. He stays within 10 feet at all times. 2 more men will pose as collectors, 3 embedded as gallery staff, plus 2 on exterior surveillance. That's 8 people. That's appropriate given that someone orchestrated a shooting at your last event. He stopped at the door. Wear something that doesn't restrict movement. Low heels? Keep your phone charged and on you. I know how to prepare for a public event. Not one where you're bait in a trap designed to catch a killer. His voice hardened. This isn't a gallery opening, Leora. This is an operation. Treat it accordingly. I am treating it accordingly. I'm treating it like the most important professional day of my career, which happens to also involve not getting killed. I stood. I can handle both. Something shifted in his expression. I know you can. He stopped. Started again. I need you to understand what's at stake. Tesaro won't come alone. He'll have support, backup plans, exit strategies. If we're right about this being personal for Valentina, she'll want confirmation. Proof that you and I are connected, that killing you damages me. So I give them nothing to photograph, nothing to misconstrue. Yes, which means, he paused. Which means when you see me at the gallery, you treat me like hired security, professional, distant. I already told you I would. I know, but I'm telling you it's going to be harder than you think. His eyes held mine. Because every instinct I have is going to be screaming to stay close to you, to keep you in my sight, to make sure nothing and no one gets within 10 feet of you. His voice dropped. And I'm going to have to ignore all of it and let you walk into danger alone. The raw honesty in his words made my breath catch. I won't be alone. I'll have Dante, your men, half of Rome's art world watching. Not the same. No, I agreed quietly. But it's what we have. A soft sound from the bedroom. Lumi stirring, mumbling something about pancakes. Tiberio's expression transformed, longing mixed with restraint. Go, I said. Before she wakes up fully, I need to tell her about today in my own way. He nodded, reached for the door, stopped. Leora, yes? After this is over, after we deal with Tesaro and Valentina and all of it, I want to meet her, properly, as her father. He looked back at me. I'm asking, not demanding. But I need you to know that's where this is heading. I know. And? I thought about Lumi's questions. About the kids at her preschool who had daddies who picked them up, who came to school plays, who built pillow forts and fixed broken toys. About the careful explanations I'd given about how some families look different, how love came in different shapes. After this is over, I said slowly, we'll talk. About what that looks like. About how to do it in a way that doesn't terrify a 4-year-old or make her think her whole world is changing overnight. I held his gaze. But yes, Tiberio, after this is over, we'll figure it out. The relief that crossed his face was almost painful to watch. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You might meet her and realize parenting a stubborn, opinionated preschooler is harder than running a criminal empire. His mouth curved. She gets that from you. She gets it from both of us. I moved to open the door wider. Now go. I have a daughter to feed and a trap to set. He left without looking back. I closed the door and leaned against it, heart pounding, mind spinning. In the bedroom, Lumi was sitting up, rubbing her eyes. Mama, was someone here? Just hotel staff, baby. Checking that we have everything we need. Do we have pancakes? We can definitely get pancakes. I moved to sit on the bed. But first, I need to talk to you about today. She clutched her rabbit closer. Are the bad men coming back? No, sweetheart. The bad men are gone, but Mama has to go back to work today, to the gallery where I'm showing my paintings. And you're going to stay here with Sophia, where it's safe and quiet. I want to come with you. I know, but today's going to be busy and boring. Lots of adults talking about art. You'd hate it. I smoothed her curls back. But when I'm done, we'll have a special dinner. Just you and me. And maybe gelato after. 2 scoops? 2 scoops. She considered this. Okay, but Mama? Yes? Why do you look scared? Children saw everything, especially mine. Because today's very important for my work. And when things are important, they can be a little scary. I pulled her close. But you know what? Even when I'm scared, I still do the brave thing. That's what being strong means. She nodded against my shoulder. Like when I had to get my shots. Exactly like that. Did you cry after? Maybe a little, I admitted. Brave people can cry. It's okay to be scared and strong at the same time. I love you, Mama. My throat tightened. I love you too, baby. More than all the paintings in the whole world. We ordered room service. Pancakes for Lumi, espresso for me that tasted like liquid anxiety. Sophia emerged from her room looking nervous but determined. Signora, I've been thinking, she said, as Lumi demolished her breakfast. About today. If you need me to come to the gallery instead of staying here, I need you here, with her. That's the most important job. I lowered my voice. If anything happens, anything at all that feels wrong, You call the security team immediately, and then you take Lumi to the panic room and you don't open it for anyone except me or Dante. Understood? Her eyes went wide. You think something might happen here? No, but I'm not taking chances. I gripped her hand. You've been with me for 2 years, Sophia. I trust you with my work, my schedule, my reputation. Today I'm trusting you with the only thing that matters more than all of that combined. She straightened. I won't let you down. I know. At noon, I showered and looked at what I'd packed for today's event. My go-to gallery outfit was still at the hotel in a garment bag, but someone had left fresh clothes folded on the suite's chair, black trousers in my exact size, a silk blouse in midnight blue, low heels that looked expensive and practical in equal measure. Tiberio's doing, obviously. I should have been annoyed at the presumption. Instead, I found myself running my fingers over the fabric, recognizing the careful attention to what I'd need. Mobile but polished, professional but protective. He'd always known me too well. I dressed in his choices and hated how perfectly they fit. I pulled my hair back, put on minimal makeup, checked my reflection. I looked like an artist preparing for her career-defining exhibition. Not a woman walking into a trap that could cost her everything. My phone buzzed. Dante, car is ready when you are. I kissed Lumi goodbye, twice, because once wasn't enough. Reminded Sophia about the panic room. Grabbed my bag and headed for the elevator. Dante waited in the lobby. He nodded once, said nothing, and led me to a black sedan with tinted windows. The drive to the gallery took 20 minutes. Rome streamed past the windows. Ancient and modern layered together, beauty built on centuries of calculated violence. Not so different from the world I was navigating now. Tesoro arrived an hour ago, Dante said quietly. He's been photographing the space, taking notes, acting like a journalist doing preliminary research. Good. Let him think he's in control. Tiberio wants you to know he'll be in the security office, watching the feeds. If Tesoro makes any move, he'll see it, I know. I looked out the window. What happens if this goes wrong? It won't. But if it does, Dante was quiet for a moment. Then Tiberio burns the Montecalvo family to the ground. Legally, financially, socially. He'll dismantle every alliance they have, expose every secret, ruin every political connection. He glanced at me. And he'll do it whether you want him to or not. Because that's what he does when someone threatens what's his. I'm not his. With respect, Signora Vitale, I don't think that matters to him anymore. The gallery appeared ahead. Cameras, press vans, a small crowd of early arrivals. My exhibition, my work, my life's culmination on display for the world to judge. And somewhere inside, Marco Tesoro waited with questions designed to destroy me. I took a breath, straightened my shoulders, became the version of myself that could handle this. Let's go, I said. Dante opened my door. I stepped out into Roman sunlight and the clicking of a dozen cameras, and I smiled like I had absolutely nothing to hide. The gallery had transformed. Where glass had shattered 2 nights ago, new panels gleamed. Where blood had stained marble, the floor shone spotless. My paintings hung exactly as I'd planned. 18 pieces spanning 5 years of work, each one a fragment of the life I'd built in exile. Anton met me at the entrance, relief and anxiety warring on his face. Signora Vitale, thank goodness. The early collectors are already asking about displacement. We may have multiple offers before the official opening. Good. I scanned the room. 2 men in expensive suits examining my triptych. Tiberio's people, I assumed. A woman arranging champagne flutes behind the bar. Another adjusting lighting near the south wall. All of them moving with the careful precision of professionals playing a role. The press will arrive at 2:15, Anton continued. I've arranged them in the East Gallery for your statement, then individual interviews in rotation. Tesoro specifically requested. 3:30, I know. I spotted Dante near the main entrance, earpiece barely visible, eyes tracking every movement. Has anything felt wrong? Anyone unexpected? No, though Signor Russo's security protocols are extensive. He lowered his voice. They've vetted every caterer, every staff member, every delivery. One of my assistants was held at the door for 20 minutes, because her credential photo didn't match her current hairstyle. Better paranoid than dead. Anton's expression flickered. Yes. Well, shall we do a final walkthrough? I moved through the space, checking sightlines, lighting, the flow from piece to piece. My work looked different here, sharper, more raw than it had in Berlin's cool gallery spaces. These paintings had been created in exile, but they belonged to Rome, to the city that had shaped me, broken me, and inadvertently given me Lumi. Displacement dominated the north wall. The piece I'd painted 6 months pregnant, dark oils bleeding into fractured architecture. I told everyone it was about urban decay. The truth was simpler and more painful. It was about being torn from the life you thought you'd have, and learning to build in the wreckage. My phone buzzed. A message from Sophia. Lumi ate lunch. She's drawing you a picture of the castle. All quiet here. I exhaled slightly. Safe, for now. Signora. Dante materialized at my elbow. We should discuss positioning for your press statement. The East Gallery, Anton said. Yes, but I need you aware of the exits. He guided me subtly toward the space. Primary exit here, secondary through the staff corridor. If I say, adjust lighting, you move immediately toward the secondary exit. No questions. Understood. Tesoro will have a clear view of you during the press conference. He'll be watching your reactions, looking for tells. Dante's voice dropped lower. Tiberio wants you to know, don't try to win the interview. Just don't lose it. Keep him talking long enough for us to track his communications. You're monitoring his phone. Among other things, Dante's expression was professionally blank. But he's smart. He'll expect surveillance, so we need him confident enough to make contact with his handler. That means you need to seem rattled but controlled. Vulnerable but professional. So, exactly what I'm actually feeling. His mouth curved slightly. Method acting. The front doors opened. Press started filtering in. Cameras, recorders, the sharp energy of people hunting for a story. I recognized faces from the approved list. And there, near the back, Julia Sarto with her pleasant smile and calculating eyes. Showtime. I moved to the East Gallery, positioned myself in front of my landscape series, and waited for Anton's signal. The cameras turned toward me like flowers seeking sun. Thank you all for coming, I began, voice steady. 2 nights ago, this gallery experienced a violent incident that resulted in injuries and significant fear. I'm grateful to the authorities for their swift response, and to the medical teams who cared for those hurt. Pause. Let them write. Control the pace. I'm an artist. I came to Rome for one reason, to share 5 years of work with the city that shaped my creative vision. What happened here was a tragedy, but it doesn't change why I'm here. My work stands on its own merit. The violence was unrelated to me personally, and I won't let fear silence the stories these pieces tell. A hand shot up. Il Messaggero. Signora Vitale, can you confirm that Tiberio Russo attended your opening? Signor Russo was among many collectors who showed interest in my work. I'm grateful for all serious buyers. But he's providing your security now. That suggests a more personal connection. It suggests I'm being smart. After an incident like this, any professional would hire qualified protection. Signor Russo's company specializes in art. Security. It was a logical choice. Julia Sarto's hand rose. Anton pointed to her. Julia Sarto, Artifocus International. You've been working in Berlin for 5 years under a slightly modified professional name. Some might say you were hiding. Can you explain why you left Rome so abruptly? The trap sprung early. I held her gaze. I left Rome because Berlin offered better opportunities for emerging artists. The gallery system there is more receptive to experimental work. I modified my professional name to match the German market. Leora Vitali Koch sounds more accessible to European collectors than just Vitali. The lie was smooth, practiced. There was nothing abrupt about it. It was a career decision. And yet you disappeared the same week Tiberio Russo announced his engagement to Valentina Montecalvo. Surely you can understand why people might find the timing suspicious. My heart kicked hard, but my voice stayed level. I can't speak to Signor Russo's personal life 5 years ago. We were acquaintances through the art world. He attended a few exhibitions where my work appeared. but his engagement had nothing to do with my career decisions. I smiled politely. If I based my professional choices on the relationship status of every collector I'd met, I'd never leave my studio. A few laughs. The tension broke slightly, but Julia wasn't done. There are photographs of you together, at his family's estate, at private events. Rome's art world overlaps with its social circles. I attended events where his family were patrons. That's not unusual. I looked directly at her. What is unusual is the focus on a male collector's presence at a female artist's exhibition. My work is what matters, not who may or may not have shown interest in purchasing it 5 years ago. The redirect landed. I saw a few reporters nodding, another hand. Will you be staying in Rome after the exhibition? I'll return to Berlin. My life and my studio are there. And your daughter? My blood froze. The question came from the back, a young man. I didn't recognize him from the approved list. Dante's hand moved to his earpiece. I don't discuss my family in professional contexts, I said carefully. My daughter has nothing to do with my work. But she's here with you in Rome, at the Palazzo Montefiore. Some might say that's an interesting choice of accommodation, given Signor Russo's connection to... Interview's over. Dante stepped forward, polite but absolute. Signora Vitale has a schedule to maintain. Individual interviews will proceed as planned. Anton rushed to organize the rotation. The young man who'd asked about Lumi was already gone, melted into the crowd. Dante leaned close. That wasn't on the approved list. I know. Tiberio's pulling footage now. We'll ID him. He guided me toward the main gallery. You handled it well, but they know about Lumi, which means... Tesaro's going to push harder. I checked my phone. Still nothing from Sophia. Still, safe. When is he scheduled? 20 minutes. The next hour blurred. I smiled for cameras, answered questions about technique and inspiration, sold 3 pieces to a German collector who didn't seem to care about scandal. My paintings had never looked better. The Roman light brought out depths I hadn't seen in Berlin's softer glow. But I couldn't stop watching the clock. Couldn't stop thinking about the young man who'd asked about Lumi, who'd known exactly where we were staying. 3:20. Anton appeared at my elbow. Signor Tesaro is waiting in the private viewing room. I followed him through the gallery to a small space off the main floor. Intimate, quiet, designed for serious collectors to examine pieces without distraction. Marco Tesaro stood with his back to me, studying a photograph on his phone. He turned as I entered, and his smile was all teeth. Signora Vitale, finally, I've been following your career with great interest. So I'm told. I didn't sit. You have questions about my work, among other things. He gestured to the chairs. Please, this won't take long. I sat. Dante positioned himself by the door, close enough to intervene, far enough to seem like standard security. Tesaro pulled out a recorder. Do you mind? Not at all. Let him record. Let him think he's in control. Your technique has evolved significantly since your early Rome period. The work is darker now, more fragmented. Some critics might say traumatized. He leaned forward. What happened in Berlin to change your artistic vision so dramatically? Maturity? Distance. The freedom to experiment without the pressure of Rome's traditional gallery expectations. And motherhood? Surely that influenced your work. My hands stayed relaxed in my lap. Parenthood changes everyone, but I don't mind my daughter's life for artistic content. Of course not. Though the timing is interesting. You left Rome, ended up pregnant within months, built an entirely new life. His eyes glittered. Almost like you were running from something, or someone. I was running toward opportunity. There's a difference. Is there? He set his phone on the table between us, screen up. Because I've been investigating your Berlin years, very carefully, and I found some fascinating inconsistencies. My pulse kicked, but I held his gaze. Such as? Your daughter's birth records list no father. Your medical history shows prenatal care starting in month 4, late for a planned pregnancy. Your visa application listed you as single, no dependents, yet 3 months later you're applying for family benefits. He smiled. It reads like someone who found out she was pregnant and had to scramble to adjust her story. It reads like someone who valued her privacy, and didn't feel obligated to broadcast her personal life to German immigration authorities. Perhaps, or perhaps it reads like someone hiding a very specific secret. He turned his phone toward me. The screen showed a photo, Tiberio and me, 5 years ago, at his family's summer estate. We were standing close, not touching, but the body language was unmistakable. The way he leaned toward me, the way I looked up at him, the way we looked at each other like we were the only two people in the room. This was taken 6 weeks before his engagement was announced, Tesaro said quietly. And if I'm doing my math correctly, about 40 weeks before your daughter was born. The room went very still. That's circumstantial, I said. A photograph and a timeline don't prove paternity. No, but they raise interesting questions. Questions I imagine Valentina Montecalvo would very much like answered. He leaned back. You see, Signora Vitale, you've become a problem. A loose thread in a very carefully woven narrative. And my employers don't like loose threads. So you're here to threaten me. I'm here to offer you a choice. His voice went flat, businesslike. You can leave Rome tonight. Return to Berlin, keep your head down, never speak publicly about Tiberio Russo or his family. Do that, and your daughter stays safe. Your career continues. You disappear back into the obscurity you've enjoyed for 5 years. And if I don't, then we make you disappear permanently, along with any evidence that might complicate Valentina's political future. He stood. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, the offer expires. He headed for the door. Every instinct screamed at me to let him go, to take the deal, to grab Lumi and run as far and fast as I could. But I'd spent 5 years running, and I was done. Tesaro? He stopped. You made a mistake, I said quietly. Oh? You assumed I'd be alone in this, that I wouldn't have backup, that threatening my daughter would make me weak instead of dangerous. I stood. But the thing about being a mother, it doesn't make you vulnerable. It makes you absolutely ruthless about protecting what's yours. His expression shifted. Is that supposed to scare me? No, but this should. The door opened. Tiberio stepped through, followed by 2 men in police uniforms. Tesaro's face went white. Marco Tesaro, one of the officers said, You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit assault, extortion, and criminal threatening. This is ridiculous. I'm a journalist. You're an operative for a criminal organization. Tiberio's voice was ice. We have recordings of every word you just said. Threats against a child. Attempted extortion. Conspiracy with the Montecalvo organization. He stepped closer. And that reporter you sent to the press conference, the one who asked about Leora's daughter, he's already in custody. Turns out he was very willing to explain who hired him once we showed him the evidence against Valentina's campaign. He paused, letting that sink in. And thanks to Signora Vitale keeping you talking, we also have the phone calls you made during this interview. Tesaro's expression shifted to confusion. I didn't make any... He stopped, looked at the table where his phone sat. You bugged it. The moment you set it down between us, the contact microphone in the table activated. Every word you said, every call you made to your handlers while pretending to review your notes. Tiberio's smile was cold. We heard all of it. Your instructions to the backup team. Your confirmation that the threat against Leora's daughter was authorized by Valentina personally. Everything we needed. Tesaro lunged for his phone. Dante moved faster, collecting it smoothly as the officers stepped forward. The officers moved to cuff Tesaro. He struggled, panic replacing confidence. You can't do this. Valentina will do nothing, Tiberio interrupted. Because we now have documented evidence of her campaign using criminal intimidation against a civilian. Evidence I've been providing to the prosecutor's office for the past 6 months. He leaned close. Did you think I'd let the Montecalvos operate unchecked after what they did to Leora 5 years ago? I've been building a case. Financial records, witness statements, communication intercepts. The prosecutor has been waiting for something concrete enough to move on a senator's daughter. You just gave it to him. He gestured to the officers. These men aren't here as a favor to me, Tesaro. They're here because there's a warrant with your name on it, signed 2 hours ago. You're not being disappeared. You're being arrested. Legally, publicly, And when you go down, you're taking Valentina's entire political operation with you. Tesaro's face went gray. You can't. The family will cut Valentina loose to save themselves. That's what happens when you're stupid enough to authorize threats against a child in writing. Tiberio stepped back. You should have taken the deal I offered you last year, Marco. The one where you walked away clean and stayed away from my family. She's not your family. She's an opportunist who... Tiberio moved so fast I barely saw it. His hand locked around Tesaro's throat, slamming him against the wall. Finish that sentence, Tiberio said softly. And I'll forget I promised Leora I wouldn't kill anyone today. The officers pulled him back. Barely. Get him out of here, Tiberio said, before I change my mind. They dragged Tesaro toward the exit. His threats echoed down the hallway, fading. And then it was just Tiberio and me in the small room. Adrenaline and fury and relief crashing together. You were listening the whole time, I said. Every word. He looked at me, and something in his expression made my breath catch. You were perfect. Kept him talking. Got him to confess everything. Made him think he had won right until the moment we closed the trap. We made a good team. Yes. He stepped closer. We did. The room suddenly felt smaller, warmer. Is it over? I asked. Really over. The immediate threat, yes. Tesaro will talk to save himself, and when he does, he'll bury the Montecalvos completely. Valentina's campaign is finished. Her father's organization will spend the next decade in legal battles. He stopped just inches away. And I've given the prosecutors everything they asked for, including evidence that implicates some of my own operations. Financial connections I'd rather keep quiet. Business relationships that will be scrutinized now. His jaw tightened. It was the price of making sure they'd move fast enough to protect you. Worth it. But not free. He paused. You're safe. Lumi's safe. You can go back to Berlin if you want. If I want. If you want? His voice dropped. Or you could stay. Build something here. Let me be part of Lumi's life. Part of yours. My heart was racing. Tiberio, I know it's too fast. I know you need time. But damn, Leora, I've spent 5 years believing you wanted nothing to do with me. And now? He stopped. Started again. Now I know the truth. I know we were lied to. I know we lost 5 years we could have had together. And I know I can't get that time back. But I can make damn sure we don't lose any more. What are you saying? I'm saying I want you. I want Lumi. I want the life we should have had 5 years ago. His hand came up to cut my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone. I'm saying I never stopped loving you, even when I thought you'd chosen to leave. Even when I thought you hated me. I never stopped. The words hit like lightning. You love me, I whispered. I never didn't. His eyes searched mine. Tell me I'm not alone in this. Tell me you feel something, anything, that makes this worth fighting for. I should have been cautious. Should have asked for time, for space, for all the rational things you ask for when your whole world just turned over. Instead, I grabbed his jacket and pulled him down and kissed him like I'd been drowning for 5 years and he was air. He made a sound, surprise and hunger and relief all mixed together. And then his arms locked around me and he was kissing me back with an intensity that made my knees weak. His mouth was exactly as I remembered. The way he tasted, the way he angled his head, the way his hand slid into my hair and gripped just hard enough to make me gasp against his lips. 5 years. 5 years of pretending I didn't miss this. Didn't miss him. Leora, he breathed against my mouth. I missed you. Shut up and kiss me. He did. Deeper this time, backing me against the wall, his body pressed against mine in a way that made thinking impossible. His hands were everywhere, a knock at the door. We broke apart, breathing hard. Dante's voice filtered through. Signora Vitale, the German collector is asking about displacement. Anton wants to know if you're available. Reality crashed back. The exhibition, my career, the entire reason I'd walked into this trap in the first place. I looked up at Tiberio. His pupils were blown, his breathing unsteady, and the way he was looking at me made heat pool low in my belly. I have to work, I said. I know. This conversation isn't over. Not even close. He stepped back, adjusting his jacket. But finish what you came here to do. Sell your paintings, secure your contracts, show them all exactly who you are. His hand caught mine, squeezed once. I'll be watching. He opened the door. Dante stood outside, professionally expressionless despite definitely knowing what he'd interrupted. The collector, I managed? East Gallery. He's prepared to make an offer on 3 pieces, but he wants to discuss framing options. I smoothed my hair, straightened my blouse, and became the professional version of myself that could negotiate 6-figure sales, while my lips still burned from Tiberio's kiss. Lead the way. The next 2 hours were a blur of contracts and handshakes and champagne I barely tasted. I sold 7 pieces total, including displacement to the German collector for more than I'd made in an entire year in Berlin. Anton was ecstatic. The Berlin gallery director called to confirm they wanted an exclusive contract for my next series. Everything I'd worked for, everything I'd sacrificed for, all of it coming together in one perfect, impossible day. And through it all, I felt Tiberio's eyes on me, watching from the security office, protecting me even now. By 6 o'clock, the gallery was clearing out. Press gone, collectors satisfied. Anton already talking about scheduling a follow-up exhibition next year. I found Dante near the entrance. Where is he? Security office, 3rd floor. Dante's expression was carefully neutral. He asked me to tell you he'll have a car ready whenever you're finished here. Tell him I'm finished now. I took the stairs 2 at a time, energy and adrenaline, and something that felt dangerously like hope propelling me forward. The security office door was half open. Inside, Tiberio stood in front of a wall of monitors, phone to his ear, speaking rapid Italian to someone about legal filings and press releases. He saw me and ended the call immediately. Hi, I said stupidly. Hi. He set his phone down. How did it go? 7 pieces sold. Berlin wants an exclusive contract. Anton's already planning my next show. I moved into the room. I did it. Everything I came here for. I never doubted you would. Liar, you were worried. Terrified, he admitted. But not about your work. That was always going to succeed. I was terrified you'd finish the exhibition and realize you didn't need me. That you'd take Lumi back to Berlin and I'd lose you both before I even got a chance to. He stopped. To what? To prove I could be what you need. What she needs. He ran a hand through his hair. I can't undo the last 5 years. Can't give you back the time I should have been there. But I can give you everything from this moment forward. Security, stability, a partner who understands your work and your world and what it costs to build something real. I don't need security, I said. Quietly, I need honesty. I need someone who sees me as an equal, not a problem to solve or a treasure to protect. I do see you as an equal. That's why I let you walk into danger today. Why I didn't interfere when Tesaro was threatening you. Because I trusted you to handle it. He moved closer. You're the strongest person I know, Leora. You survived threats that would have broken most people. You built a career and raised our daughter alone in a foreign country. You came back here knowing it was dangerous because you refused to let fear win. His voice roughened. You don't need me, but damn, I need you. I need you to teach me how to be Lumi's father. I need you to show me how to build something that doesn't involve violence and power plays. I kissed him again. This time, there was no hesitation, no interruption, just his hands pulling me closer and my fingers tangling in his hair and the desperate, aching need to be as close as possible to the only man I'd ever loved. He pulls me closer for one long, steady kiss, then stops himself like restraint is a choice he's forcing his body to obey. His hand finds my waist, firm and careful, and my breath catches like my body remembers him before my mind can catch up. We're in a security office, I managed, with cameras I control. His mouth moved to my neck, teeth grazing. No one's watching, no one's coming. It's just us. Tiberio. Tell me to stop, he says, voice low. Tell me this is too fast, too much, and I'll stop. I should have. Should have been rational and careful and all the things responsible single mothers were supposed to be. Instead, I pulled him closer and whispered, "Don't stop." He groaned, a sound that went straight through me, and his mouth found mine again, hungry and demanding. His hands were everywhere, relearning every curve, every place that made me shiver. I tugged at his shirt, desperate to feel skin, and he pulled back just long enough to shrug out of his jacket and yank his shirt over his head. My breath caught. He'd always been beautiful, but now— "You're staring," he said, voice rough. "You're worth staring at." "Goodness," he breathed. "You're perfect." "I'm a mother who lives on coffee and irregular sleep. I'm not—" "Perfect," he repeated firmly. His hands spanned my waist, thumbs stroking. "Every part of you. Tiberio." His name came out as a gasp. "This isn't—" "Tell me to stop," he said again, lips against my throat. "Home," I managed. "Take me home." He stepped back, breathing hard, and the loss of contact made me want to cry. But then he was helping me with my blouse, his hands gentle now, careful. "The palazzo?" he asked. "Where Lumi is." "Yes." I slid off the desk, legs unsteady. "I need to see her, make sure she's okay. And then we talk. About everything. About what this means. About what happens next." He cupped my face. "I'm not letting you go again, Leora. Not without a fight." "Good," I said. "Because I'm done running." The palazzo suite was quiet when we arrived. Sophia met us in the sitting room, looking relieved. "She's been perfect. Drew 17 pictures, had dinner, asked about you approximately every 12 minutes. Sophia gathered her things. "She's asleep now. Went down about an hour ago." I paid her double what we'd agreed on and thanked her profusely. Then it was just Tiberio and me, standing in the dimly lit suite, with my daughter sleeping one room away and 5 years of lost time stretching between us. "I should check on her," I said. "Go." I slipped into the bedroom. Lumi was sprawled across the bed, rabbit clutched tight, her dark curls wild on the pillow. She looked so much like Tiberio it made my chest ache. I brushed her hair back, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "I love you, baby girl." When I came back out, Tiberio was standing by the windows, looking out at Rome. "She's beautiful," he said without turning. "She is." I moved to stand beside him. "And terrifying, and brilliant, and so stubborn it makes me want to scream sometimes. Like her mother, like both her parents." I looked up at him. "If we do this, if we try to build something real, it's not just you and me, it's her too. And she comes first. Always. I know. She doesn't know you, doesn't know what you do, doesn't understand why I've kept her from you all this time." My voice cracked. "I don't know how to explain this to a 4-year-old. We'll figure it out, together." He turned to face me. "I'm not expecting to walk in and be her father immediately. I know I have to earn that, but I want the chance to try. And if she doesn't accept you, if it's too hard for her, then we go slower, we adjust. We do whatever keeps her feeling safe and loved." His hand found mine. "I'm not going anywhere, Leora. Whether it takes a week or a year for her to trust me, I'll wait. I'll prove myself. Because she's worth it. You're both worth it." The certainty in his voice made something in my chest crack open. "I've been so scared," I whispered. "Of this, of you, of what it would mean to let you in. I know. But I'm tired of being scared. Tired of running. Tired of building a life that's safe but small." I looked up at him. "I want more. For me, for Lumi, for us." "Then take it." He pulled me closer. "Take all of it. Build a studio here. Show Lumi where you fell in love with art. Let me prove I can be the partner you deserve and the father she needs." His forehead touched mine. "Stay, Leora. Stay, and let's build something real. I'll need my own space, my own career. I won't be kept. I don't want to keep you. I want to stand beside you. And Lumi comes first. Always. Always," he agreed. "And if it doesn't work, if we try this and it falls apart, you don't get to use your power to control where she goes or what I do." Agreed, though it's going to work. "You don't know that." "Yes, I do." He kissed me softly. "Because we've already survived the worst. We've survived lies and separation and 5 years of thinking we'd never have this. Everything from here is just us choosing each other. Every day. That's easy compared to what we've already done." Maybe he was right. Maybe after everything we'd survived, Choosing each other was the simplest thing in the world. Stay tonight, I said. Not for just stay. Be here when she wakes up. Let's start figuring this out. Are you sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. I pulled him toward the sofa. We can talk, make a plan, figure out how to tell a 4-year-old that her father isn't a Berlin architect but a Roman. What do I even call you? Businessman sounds too innocuous. Criminal overlord sounds too dramatic. He laughed. A real laugh, the kind I hadn't heard in 5 years. Consultant, he said. I'm a security and logistics consultant for high-value clients. That's the worst euphemism I've ever heard. It's also technically accurate. He pulled me down beside him. But for Lumi, I'm just Tiberio, her father. Someone who wants very much to know her and who promises to keep both of you safe, while giving you all the freedom you need to live your lives. She's going to have questions, so many questions. Then we'll answer them, honestly, in ways she can understand. His arm came around me. We'll make mistakes. We'll figure it out. We'll build something messy and complicated and real. I leaned against him, exhausted and exhilarated and terrified and hopeful all at once. I can't believe this is happening, I said. Believe it. He kissed the top of my head. You're stuck with me now. Good. We sat there as Rome glittered outside the windows, talking in quiet voices about logistics and schedules, and how to introduce a man to his daughter when that man had spent 5 years not knowing she existed. And when I finally fell asleep against his shoulder, I dreamed not of running, but of roots, deep and strong and permanent, growing down into Roman soil. I woke to soft morning light and the feeling of being watched. I opened my eyes to find Lumi standing 3 feet away, still in her pajamas, rabbit dangling from one hand, staring at the man asleep on the other end of the sofa. Tiberio was still there, head tilted back, one arm stretched along the cushions where I must have been sleeping before I'd shifted in the night. Mama, Lumi whispered. Who's that? I sat up slowly, careful not to wake him yet. Come here, baby. She climbed into my lap, warm and soft, and smelling like sleep. Is he staying for breakfast? I looked at Tiberio, at the face I'd loved and lost and found again, at the father my daughter had never known. Yes, I said quietly. He's staying for breakfast, and I think he's going to be staying for a lot of things. What's his name? Tiberio. She tested the word silently, her little mouth shaping the syllables. Then she looked up at me with those eyes, his eyes, and asked, Is he the reason you look happy? My throat tightened. Yes, sweetheart. He's part of the reason. Okay, she snuggled closer. Then I like him. If only it would stay that simple. But as Tiberio's eyes opened and he saw us there, his daughter in my arms, the 3 of us together in morning light, and his whole face transformed with wonder and hope and terrifying love, I thought maybe it could be. Maybe we could build this, together. If you made it to the end, thank you for listening, for staying, for letting my stories keep you company. I hope this festive season brings you warmth, rest, and at least one moment that feels like a deep breath. I'm genuinely grateful you're here. Your time means a lot to me. Until the next story, take care of yourself.